Hello and welcome to Fox Sports Lab NFL. I'm Matthew Cambell. We're up to week 4 in the NFL. Jaymz Clements joins me as always. Jaymz, just before we start, I didn't get to see a lot of the round 3 school holidays, so I put my hand up. I didn't see as much football as usual, but I did see some NHL on the weekend. I went to the Kings and I went to the Coyotes game in Melbourne at Rod Laver, and I'm pretty sure on the big screen above the rink, I saw Jaymz Clements' head.
You did. You saw me and a couple of my brothers, the big old red beard just shining like a beacon on that big jumbotron. It was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great afternoon, but let's talk NFL. As I said, I didn't see a lot, but what we don't see a lot of is a side putting up 70 points. How real are the Dolphins?
They are legitimate, Matty. This is absolute chaos. The highest score since 1966. 70 points. You win by 50. 50 is the winning score. That is absolute chaos. I think the biggest thing to sort of come out of this week is that, the Dolphins are legit. That offense is unstoppable at times. And this week's matchup is absolutely fascinating, right? And I think the other sort of big thing we learned from this week is that, taking your girlfriend to a football match to hang out with your mum is probably a good idea sometimes because Travis Kelce's, sales went through the roof like 400%. His social media following absolutely skyrocketed. So I feel like when you're dating one of the biggest pop stars in the world and you bring her along to a game, it's not a bad move.
It's sensational, isn't it? Kelce and Swift. I mean, it's a match made in heaven, isn't it? It's outstanding. Let's get to some football. Let's get to our Thursday night, our Friday morning game. We've got the Lions in Green Bay. They're both 2-1 in the NFC North. And with the Vikings 0-3, it's a real good chance to whoever wins this to assert some authority.
This is a huge game, isn't it? Because Green Bay came back from 17-zip down the other day against the Saints, who lose Derek Carr to a injured shoulder, of course. And Green Bay haven't been wildly convincing. They've been good, but they haven't been great. Jordan Love's looked pretty handy. So I think this game is a really great litmus test for the Packers. They've had some injuries, of course. The Lions offense hasn't really quite kicked into gear like we probably thought preseason. This is a good chance, though, for them to at least, go hammer and tongs against them. So I think my big thing for this, the same game multi that we're going to look at for Detroit Green Bay, is going to be Jordan Love, 2 passing touchdowns. He doesn't mind airing it out. We've got Romeo Doubs. He's been awesome, the receiver. Anytime touchdown for him and 45-plus receiving yards. And then on the Detroit side, I wanted to go Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he hasn't really lit it up too much, whereas it looks like Jared Goff is always looking towards Sam Laporta, the big tight end. So we're going anytime touchdown for him. In terms of a game pick, I'm really struggling with this one, Matty. I feel like I'm going to go Green Bay with the plus 1.5. I think the line is around that 1.5 mark. I think I'll go Green Bay, but at the same time, I'm just going to lean, I think, on the player props there for the actual same game multi.
All right, let's get to Sunday night. We look for a multi with the games overnight. Some interesting games. We find out the Dolphins, they go to Buffalo. The Rams and Colts looks too hard to pick. And I'm interested to see what you think. I thought the price for the Ravens is tempting, but the Browns have got their defense working.
This Browns defense is terrifying, Matty. You saw 2 tight ends like shadowing Myles Garrett for most of that game the other day. So I think for that one, I'm actually going to lean, I think, on the Browns for the line for this Sunday night, the Sunday night football, the Monday morning multi as it is. Cleveland are 1.5-point favorites against Baltimore. It's an AFC North clash. I think the Browns get that done at 1.5. We also go to London for the first international game of the season with the Jags taking on Atlanta. The Jags do this pretty much every year. They're probably a little bit more used to it than the Falcons. I'm going to go the Jags to get back off the schneid and win that one. -2.5, they're the favorites as well. We'll look at Carolina against Minnesota. You mentioned them earlier. 0-3 at the moment, the Vikings. They've looked horrible. I think Minnesota will win this, but Carolina cover the 5.5-point line. So plus 5.5 for Carolina. And Pittsburgh, the beloved Steelers there, Matty, -2.5 against the resurgent Houston, who looked awesome last week. I just think the Steelers defense is going to be too good. They're 2.5-point favorites. I'll take them. So we'll go the Jags -2.5, Carolina plus 5.5, Cleveland -1.5, and of course the Steelers -2.5. Drop that steel curtain, Matty. Drop the curtain.
Steelers football. Good on you, Mike. Anyway, let's move to our Monday night game. Seattle against New York at the Giants. Seattle, as we touched on a couple of weeks ago, they stunk the first week, but they put some points on the board the last 2 games.
That's the week 1 lesson, isn't it? Never trust week 1. because Seattle's offense turned around and has dropped 37 each of the last 2 weeks. I'm not going to trust their defense that much on the road. It's not much chop anyway. And I just think this would be a bit of a weird Monday night, Tuesday morning slog for us here back in Australia. I think the under is hit in the last 3 games that these two have met, Seattle and New York. So I'd probably lean towards Seattle to win. The under 47.5 at the moment as well. And I feel it will go a bit of the Seattle run game. Obviously, their receivers like DK and Jackson Smith and Jigba are really, really, really good. But Kenneth Walker was fantastic last week. I think we'll see him get in there for an anytime touchdown as well. But it's a really tricky one because the Giants, you never know what to expect with this team, especially at home. But I think I'm going to rely on Seattle. Famous last words, I think they're Matty sometimes, but there we go. And of course, I mean, don't forget about the late game on Monday morning. We've got KC, the Jets. The Kelce Swift show comes, to New York. What's going to happen there? I actually saw Taylor Swift play at MetLife Stadium a few years back, but I think that one's going to be
wide receiver or tight end.
She's much more of a run blocking sort of tight end, I think. But this is going to be a weird game. I think KC gets stymied by that Jets defense. I think KC win, but I reckon look at the under for that one too.
All right, we'll look at the under in that game. All right, mate, as always, a pleasure to talk to you. Look forward to another fantastic round of NFL, and I'll see you next week.
Damn straight, Matty. How good is NFL? Loving this. What a great season so far.
It has started beautifully, and we are enjoying it, as I hope you are, on Fox Sports Lab NFL. We'll see you next week, and we'll tick off all those boxes that Jaymz gave us.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.